What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the mobility items we have in Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3 and how you want to use them, because I've seen a lot of people say this season has no mobility, and I feel like that couldn't be further from the truth. As always, if you guys do find this video to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more. Let's get into it. We have several mobility items this season. The first is going to be the base boost gloves, which I think these are the best mobility this season, but I'll get into them in a bit because I am going to cut to some gameplay in a custom game explaining how you want to use these best as mobility. We have Shockwave Grenades, which have been a staple mobility item for, many years in Fortnite now. They're a bit harder to get this season. It seems like they're not really in the general loot pool as far as floor loot and regular chests go, but you can get them out of rare chests. You also get 4 of them if you turn in one of the dash sprites to a shrine, which is something you're going to want to be doing anyways to get hero points. And then also there is an NPC at Pumped Power that sells 2 for 300 gold. So it's harder to get shockwaves by random means this season. But if you just take a sprite to the shrine, you're going to get a stack of 4, which is very good. There's also the dashes from the dash sprite. If you throw a dash sprite down, you will get 3 dashes. And anyone can go into its radius and get dashes as well. So this will work for your entire team. And these dashes function similar to the ones we had in Chapter 5 with the green water or the Cerberus medallion. All you have to do is hit your jump button while you're in the air in the direction you want to go, and then you'll perform a dash in that direction. So if you want to dash forward, you just double jump basically and, travel forward while pushing your movement forward. You can go to the side, you can go backwards. There's a lot of things you can do with it. And this is also very good fighting mobility, I think. And one thing to keep in mind with how this differs from the Chapter 5 version of the dashes is that you are actually susceptible to taking fall damage with the dashes in Chapter 6 for some reason. In Chapter 5, you were immune, but you can take fall damage with these dashes, so you got to keep that in mind. But it's still very good fighting mobility, and this is one of those things where, like, if you find a dash sprite, you can use it, pick it back up, then take it to a shrine, and now you have 3 dashes and 4 shockwaves. Like, that is a lot of mobility for something that is not hard to do and doesn't take much time at all. We obviously have cars as well to travel the map. And then finally, we have the base boost gloves and the Wingshot Grappler. Both of these take more time to explain, and I'm going to show some gameplay. So we're going to start off with the base boost gloves. These can be found from regular loot, hero chests, hero item stands, chests, all of that stuff. They spawn in many different places. There are blue ones with 2 charges that regenerate over time. There's purple ones with 3 charges that regenerate over time. And then finally, there's the mythic ones that have a chance to spawn in the wall in the Supernova Academy's A tier room. And these mythic ones have 4 charges. You will have to buy them, and I believe they'll cost 1,000 gold if they happen to spawn there. But the mythic ones do have 4 charges. And I think this is the best mobility item this season. But a lot of players are kind of struggling with learning how to use it because it's not a hard item to use, in my opinion, but it's just something that, like, takes a little bit of time to use. But once you get it, you got it, I think. And I think it is super important to learn how to use these gloves. So I'm going to cut to some gameplay showing how to use it in a custom match and kind of walking you through the different ways this item functions. So for using the new base boost gloves for movement, they're actually a pretty easy item to use, but there is like somewhat of a trick to it. You have 2 activations. Your shoot button will shoot it, and then your aim down sight button will just do this activation. And it's like a little, dash upwards. If you're just standing still, you'll go straight. If you're moving, you'll go in the direction of, that you're moving. So if you go forward and hit your aim down sight button, you'll do a little dash. But you can also use the shoot aspect of this for mobility. I'll, wait for it to regen a little bit so we can show it. But the shoot version of this can also be used for mobility, because if you're in the air when you shoot the gloves, you'll be sent in the direction opposite you're facing. So if I'm looking forward right here and I jump and shoot it, I'll be sent backwards. And the way you can use this for mobility is you just quickly turn and do things like that. And, now you have a mobility item that can send you across the map very quickly and very easily. And you can even combine it with, like I said, the aim down sight activation to just get straight into the air. And then your shoot to do that as well. As I said, though, you do have to be jumping for the shoot to move you. If you're not in the air when you shoot it, your character won't be thrown back at all. So you have to jump if you intend to use this as mobility when you're shooting it. With the aim down sight activation like that, you don't need to be jumping at all. It'll jump for you. But if you want to use the shoot as movement, you do have to be jumping, which is important to know if you intend to use this as movement. But it's also good to know if you want to use it to destroy cover, because these gloves do a lot of structure damage. You can basically one-shot a porta bunker. You can go through shield bubbles. If you're a build mode players, you can grief builds easily. So right here, hypothetically, imagine I had somebody standing there and I wanted to destroy their cover. I could just stand still and shoot it at them. Oh, I guess I broke that. But I could just stand still and shoot it at them. And then that person is, you know, fully exposed. And anytime you have someone using bunkers in zero build, especially in ranked this season, you're going to want to just grief their bunkers with this. Anytime you have anybody camping in a building, very easy to make that happen. You just have to be standing still. If I jump into it, I'm going to be sent backwards, and now things are a little more awkward for me. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I think these gloves are a very, very good mobility item, and I would highly recommend taking the time to get used to using them. As I said before, I don't think they're very hard to use, but just learning the little intricacies of it and, you know, developing that muscle memory definitely takes a little bit of time. And then the final mobility item to talk about this season is going to be the for now at least, is going to be the Wingshot Grappler. This can be purchased from the Robin NPC at this building that used to be the black market next to the Rainbow Field, and it costs 600 gold. This is a grapple glider, meaning you grapple and then deploy your glider and fly around. And while this is good for traveling, that glider effect usually makes it not the greatest for fighting because there's that delay. And if you're trying to like grapple straight on somebody, pulling out your glider is not ideal. But you can actually cancel this by swapping weapons at the exact moment you shoot your grappler. This is the same way the grappler trick works with the regular grappler. But it matters more with this one because of that like time you can avoid gliding if you get the trick down. So there is a trick to using this, and I think mastering that and performing it like perfectly is much harder than any of the other mobility items this season. But when you have it mastered, you're going to be a menace to deal with. I'm going to cut to some gameplay in a creative map showing you how you can use this and how you can practice with it anytime, because the Wingshot Grappler functions very similar to the Jules Grappler, which you can find on the wall in the Pit Zero build map, or any creative map that has a grappler you can practice. But I'll have the code for the Pit Zero build linked down in the description below. And even if you can't find the Jules Grappler on the wall, the regular grappler, the trick works the same way. You just need to shoot and swap weapons at the exact same time, and you'll cancel the grappler effect. I'll have the code for this map down in the comments below, but there's lots of creative maps out there that have the items in there. This is the Pit Zero build, and you can do this in a private match. You just toggle between public and private before you start the match. And in here, you can practice with shockwaves to your heart's liking and not really be affected by other people, and also not have to worry about looting them. I didn't see the base boost gloves on this map from the items, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me if it comes in the future. This grappler is the Jules Grappler. You can get it off the wall, but there is the regular grappler as well. And both this and the regular grappler and the Nightwing Grappler, as far as canceling goes, functions the same way. So the Nightwing Grappler is going to be like this Jules Grappler, in that you use a glider after grappling it, and that makes it not the greatest for pushing people because your gun isn't ready right away. But if you shoot your grappler and swap weapons at the exact same time, you can cancel that animation. I just messed it up there, but the first two times I got it. But you basically just shoot and swap at the same time. That animation is canceled, and then that makes it a lot better for pushing enemy players. And as I said, the Batman Nightwing Grappler functions the exact same way with this cancel. So if you do end up using the Nightwing Grappler, it is a good mobility item, but it's a lot better of a fighting mobility item once you are able to cancel. And as I said, it's just swap and shoot at the exact same time. It's not the hardest to do. It's something that you can definitely mess up, and I mess up sometimes as well, but it's just something you gotta put the time in to get used to. And that's why I was recommending this creative map, because you can kind of just practice with these items to your heart content and build that muscle memory. A lot of these items aren't that hard to use. It just comes down to having that muscle memory. And a lot of players don't want to put the time in, the limited time it would take to practice in creative, and that's fine. But if you do want to get better, I would highly suggest just, you know, spending 5 to 10 minutes doing this. You'll have it down. And same with shockwaves. I think less than 5 minutes in a creative map, and you can easily practice and learn how to use shockwaves. This season has a lot of mobility, But it's a lot of mobility items that you kind of have to get the hang of to really get the most of them. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this to be helpful, informative, or interesting. As always, if you did, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below which mobility item is your favorite this season, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.